Welcome to the Get Your Pink Back Project. I'm your host, Dr. Christelle Oliver Dussault, and this is your space to pause, breathe, and return to yourself. One story, one insight, one conversation at a time. Let's begin. Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm speaking to Jenny, who is all the way over in Dublin. We met a good few years ago through our husbands who went to school together. And when I spoke to her about the project, she wanted to share her journey with all of you. So welcome. Thank you for making the time to chat to me today.
Thank you, Christelle. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So before we dive in, I know you're now a busy working mom of two. Tell me a little bit about who you were before you were a mom.
That's an interesting one. I think, I was a different person maybe in some regards before I had kids. Even before I met my husband, I sometimes joke that I'm on like witness protection because my life was like so different before I kind of settled down. But yeah, so I am, I suppose, working and living in Dublin. I am now in a career that it was a real pivot from before I had kids. I think so much changed when I suppose got pregnant. Like I got pregnant right at March 2020, which was like the week before or the week of COVID hitting the
Yeah.
world. So I think like everything changed, but when I got pregnant, like with the world,
Mhm.
I started a job like I got offered a job on the Friday and I found out I was pregnant on the Sunday. So like
Right.
my whole world shift and the world shifted around the time of, finding out I was pregnant, which at that very moment I felt like a mum instantly. So it is
Mhm.
it was a bit crazy, yeah. But before I was a mom, I was living in Dublin. I still am living in Dublin, but working away, working in kind of media. Um, and I suppose maybe at that point your work kind of defines you a little bit and where you want to
Mhm.
go. You kind of your career is a huge part of that. And I guess maybe now as a mom, my career is not as important. Maybe it will be more
Mhm.
in a few years, but I think like I don't know anything in particular you want to know. I suppose about kind of my previous life before being a mom.
No, maybe like what you would have maybe described yourself as. Like you've already kind of touched on, career was a huge part of your identity. Was there anything that was part of your identity then that doesn't have as much importance now?
Hmm. It's a funny one. I mean, I think I would have defined myself before my current situation as kind of working in the creative industries, working in the music industry, studying
Mhm.
music. I did it like people meet me now and they're so surprised about where or what I did before my current job, we'll say. Like when I tell
Mhm.
people that I have a degree in music, that I have a master's in, composition, they're like, "What?" Like they just find it so strange. So I
Mhm.
guess ties in with how my life, 5, 6 years ago was like so different to now. It's
Yeah.
just been a bit.
Yeah. So a lot of big changes all at once, both within kind
Yeah.
of your family unit, your career, and then the world. What did you
Exactly.
imagine motherhood would be like before you became a mom?
Um, I feel like I didn't imagine it a huge amount. Like I knew it was in my kind of goals. Like I saw myself as a parent,
Mhm.
want 2 kids, maybe three, but I didn't really think about it a huge amount. And I think myself and my husband Neil, like we definitely knew we wanted to have kids, but we didn't talk about it a huge amount. So I feel
Yeah.
like I didn't really imagine life as a parent that much. And kind of it was when we found out we were pregnant, it not that it wasn't planned, but it was a surprise. It was like a
Yeah.
beautiful surprise. So yeah, I think that we're kind of the type of people that we just roll with the punches, and we kind of
Yeah.
found
Yeah.
pregnant. Like, whoa, okay, I guess
Okay. Yeah.
we're having a family now,
This is
so
happening.
yeah, not overly planned, yeah, as you
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. And how was your transition to motherhood after you gave birth, to Sophie, right?
Yeah, yeah. Again, like, it was such a crazy time, with COVID. I think when you're maybe, before the pandemic, people found out, like, they were pregnant, they were able to do, like, yoga and different things, throughout their pregnancy. They could have baby showers and, I did everything remotely. I had a remote baby shower as well. Um,
Mhm.
and then you're kind of thrown into parenting, um, and it's quite isolating in some ways. Now, I was really lucky that Neil had 4 months off, on
Mhm.
paternity leave. So we spent a lot of time together, which was amazing. And so I think the transition into parenting was actually quite straightforward, but yeah, it's not the case for everyone. So not complaining that I didn't get to do, baby swimming or baby mom and baby yoga, but actually I'm like, would I have done those things anyway? Like, the way
Mhm.
you think, like, you'll do all of these things, but in reality you're just kind of drowning in, like, exhaustion as well. So
Yeah.
I think COVID and pandemic, I think it suited me. And it suited our kind of chilled out lifestyle as well. So yeah, I found being, becoming a mom not that difficult, not that challenging. It was great.
Sounds like you had the space and the time to connect as a little family unit, that maybe you wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the pandemic. So maybe a little blessing there.
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
anything like what would you say that you found about motherhood that was challenging that maybe you wouldn't have found challenging before, or anything that surprised you?
Mm, I guess it wouldn't surprise me, but after I had Sophie, not immediately after Sophie, but um I think when your babies are super small, you're just kind of getting through the day,
Mhm.
um, focused on feeding, napping, changing nappies, doing all that stuff. You don't have a huge amount of time to really think. And I
Mhm.
think as the dust settled a little bit, um, and you're kind of meeting up with friends and stuff, all of those things kind of die down. People start to, yeah, go back to work. So I was on maternity leave with, a couple of our mutual friends, and gradually everybody started to go back to work, and you find that you're spending a bit of time by yourself or more time by yourself. And
Mhm.
I found that I would have always been a bit of a hypochondriac with, like, medical stuff. Um,
Mhm.
and I found that I started this health anxiety started to creep in, um,
Okay.
and would consume me, like, consume my thoughts, just like, yeah, just really things like that mole on my back, like, I'm just
Okay.
terrified, like, that's something bad, and just
Mhm.
being kind of obsessive thoughts about this. And I think after you become a mum as well, you realize just how fragile life is and how important
Mm.
you are to another human being. And if anything happened to you, your little unit, your family would be ruined. And you
Mhm.
just appreciate life and how important you are and how much you love your family, etc. So I
Mhm.
think I just started to go down this spiral of, like, there's something wrong. Like, life is so
Mhm.
perfect. Like, how am I so lucky? And just kind of waiting for something to go wrong. And
Yeah.
eventually, yeah, I was like, this is not right. So I had to go, and I went to my doctor, and they kind of recommended a therapist. Um,
Mhm.
which helped, but I think that was something I hadn't really anticipated, but,
Mhm.
being a person that would worry about health stuff, it's not surprising, but,
Yeah.
it did kind of, yeah, it was
It
kind
was
of
heightened quite a bit.
very much, yeah.
And how old was Sophie when that started coming to light?
She was probably, I would say like 10 or 11 months. So
Mm,
it was around kind of towards the end of my maternity leave before I went back to work. Um,
okay.
and I think once I went back to work, all those, not all of those thoughts, but it's certainly like died down. I didn't have time
Okay.
to think about it because I was kind of
Mhm,
busy with busy with family.
mhm,
So it was great actually to get back to work, and it made me realize that actually I just don't think that I could be a stay-at-home mom. Like it just, I don't think it would
mhm.
suit personality at all.
Yeah. Did you at any point find that you found that you lost yourself in caring for her or those around you?
Mm, not lost. Like, I mean, sometimes parenting is just all consuming. Like I think it's
Mhm,
inevitable that you do lose yourself a little bit, and you lose more so the things that you enjoy doing, like your hobbies and yeah, like whether it's reading or, playing music or, those things just sort of take a back seat and you're too
mhm.
tired. I found that like all I wanted to do when I had free time was take a nap. That was
Yeah.
like my like some people would go to the gym. I'm like, take the baby, I'm going to bed for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that is my
Yeah.
like leave me alone. And I probably always have been a bit like that. It's a sanctuary, but
Mhm. Yeah.
I think everyone sort of loses themselves at this stage
Mhm.
of parenting. And then you get it back when they start to get a bit more independence.
Mhm. Did you notice a shift in your relationship, say, with Neil or with family members or friendships?
Um yeah, I mean I think your relationship with your partner is like obviously, it's not the same. It can seem a bit. Well, no, I have to say, like, people, I appreciate Neil, like, so much. I always did, but he is so hands-on for, like, stuff around the house that I'm just, like, so appreciative of him, and, like, we're a team, and I
Mhm.
feel like we really are a team. Sometimes it can always feel a little transactional as well, where, like, you're doing this and
Mhm.
I'm doing this, and, it's
Yeah.
like, it's all planned out, but again, you kind of you'll that will happen and then you'll come back together again when the kids
Yeah.
grow up. And well, I hope that that's the case. Obviously, we're not we're not in a bad place or anything. But yeah, we're you can kind of feel like you're drowning a little bit in parenting, and you
Mhm.
just have your purpose. So of course
Yeah.
that relationship will change. Just on to your point, to another point, I think the relationship with my mom changed because you kind
Mhm.
of you understand maybe
Mhm.
why they were the way they were, or the worry that they have for you, or why they never let you do anything,
Mhm.
or why they were so
Yeah.
strict maybe growing up. Like I get it now. So
Yeah.
our relationship is a lot better. I feel like we used to maybe we're very similar, so we would
Mhm.
maybe, I don't know, not fight, but like bicker, or I'd be snappy or something. And I just
Yeah.
don't. I feel like our relationship is a lot better. Like I'm more patient, she's more patient, and we're
Mhm.
kind of understand each other's worlds a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a mutual understanding. I definitely got closer with my mum as well too, in motherhood. She used to always say to me, "You'll understand one day." Now I understand what she meant.
Yeah.
How did your transition from becoming a first-time mom, how did that shift when baby number 2, your son, came along?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think on the second one, I don't know if you can kind of agree. Everything is just so much more relaxed. Well,
Hmm.
I found I was more relaxed. I couldn't actually breastfeed on Sophie, so
Mhm.
but I could on Jack. So those
Mhm.
experiences were kind of different. Everything was a bit more relaxed with Jack because I knew what I was doing and not guessing myself. But also the feeding situation, like much easier. So yeah, I think the transition from one to two was actually fine. And
Mhm.
even the tiredness, I felt like I was more tired on Sophie than I was on
Mhm.
Jack, even though I got 2 kids. It's like my body is just, like, used to being tired all the time.
Yeah.
Just get on with it.
Yeah, just rolling with it.
Exactly.
Did you ever feel a pressure to be a certain type of mother, or did you ever feel like you should act or behave in a certain way with your kids?
Hmm. It's me. I'm probably more strict than I would have, like, realized how strict I am.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I wish I don't know. Can you maybe repeat the question again? Sorry, because 'cause I'm probably
Yeah.
going off tangent.
Did you feel I think it's more getting at, like, did you feel pressure from society or from people in your close circle to be a certain type of mom?
Mm, maybe. I in some ways, but, like, not in a bad way, but my sister-in-law is, like, super mum, and
Mhm.
my little sister, like, she's amazing. She's, like, super, like, activities organized, play dates in her house, energy for, like, days, in the gym at, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, she's just super mom.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, like, I don't compare myself, but, like, sometimes I'm like, "God, I should really be doing, like, more of these things,"
Mhm.
or, look, we're all, she's a different, like, personality to me. She wouldn't sit down and watch, like, Netflix to the extent that I would. We're just, different people. But, like, I think social media plays into that as well. We kind of see what's on our phones and what's
Mhm.
streamed, what we're watching about, like, even packed packed lunches. Like, when Sophie went to school, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to be, like, really creative, like, Pinterest sort of
Mhm.
lunchbox for Sophie every morning." Like, this pressure that we put on ourselves
Yeah.
to just be these amazing people, amazing moms, but, the reality is we're all kind of working during the day and
Mhm.
struggling. But, like, unless you have the luxury of being, a stay-at-home mom or whatever, I think we need to probably just take a little bit of the pressure off. We're dealing with a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, and the mental load. And I'm sure that comes up a lot on the
Yeah.
podcast, is the mental load that, like, everyone, not just mums, but dads as well.
Mhm.
Um, I think we're all guilty of putting a little bit of pressure on ourselves to be these, like, perfect parents, but just take a step back a little bit. And I try not to be too hard on myself. Like, the
Mhm.
kids are fine. We're doing okay. We can pay our bills. They have nice
Yeah.
clothes and nice food. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing good. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Is there anything that you found has helped giving you that kinda that step back or that headspace to be a bit kinder to yourself?
Mm, I think, like, just always in the back of my head, I'm like, your health is your wealth. Like, as
Mhm.
long as your family are, well, and you've got a roof over your heads, like, everything's fine. I think,
Mhm.
don't sweat the small stuff. Like, yes, the house might be a little bit messy or whatever, but, like, it's fine. We've got young kids. Like, yes, the
Yeah.
carpet's filthy, but, like, we can get a new one in a while. Like,
When they're
it's
older.
fine. I desperately want a new carpet, but no, I have to wait. But,
Maybe wait
yeah,
till they're
I
a
don't
bit
know.
older.
Yeah, yeah. My heart will be broken.
You mentioned that in around the time you're about to go back to work for the first time, that you had a lot of these obsessive thoughts coming into your mind about worries about you and the important role you played within your family. Um, when you did that counseling, what were the pearls, or are there anything is there anything that stands out that you found really, really helpful, to change those thought patterns or take a step back from them?
My therapist was just like, just try to think logically about these things. So, like, if I had a worry about, like, breast cancer, things like this, she was like,
Mhm.
your age, it's
Mhm.
not in your family, like, just think logically about these things, right? Um, she would recommend not going down the rabbit hole of looking at, specific sites. She was like, try to limit the sites that you access this information from, like
Mhm.
trust just the NHS website. And
Mhm.
that would be your sort of your Bible, and don't allow yourself to look at anything else, because
Mhm.
if you search on the internet, you'll find all sorts of crazy stuff like that will,
Mhm.
tell you that you're dying.
Mhm.
So like just small bits of tips like that, that it was really, really helpful. Um, I think another part of that was just like me catastrophizing like everything, like because obviously we were dealing with a pandemic, there was
Mhm.
death. It was like death was all we were hearing about on the news and
Every
stuff.
day.
So I think he
Yeah.
just was helping me to just talk things through a little bit. And it
Mhm.
was, to be honest, it's just nice to have someone to talk to in a safe environment. And like
Mhm.
some even talk about like the medical stuff. It was just about like the daily stresses of, parenting and coping with, whatever was going on that week, and,
Mhm.
maybe like talking to her about it instead of, other people like my husband or my mom, just having that
Mhm.
safe space. I actually really enjoyed it, but then life got so busy when I went back to
Yeah.
work that I couldn't keep it up. But yeah.
Yeah. When you did go back to work, you mentioned that you changed careers essentially as you got pregnant with Sophie. How
Mm.
does this new career fit your lifestyle now compared to the previous career you had?
I think what I do now is I'm in tech sales. So I think the great thing about those types of companies that we work for, and I'm in a sales role, so there is kind of greater flexibility when you
Mhm.
are working roles. You're essentially like the CEO of your own business. You kind of manage your own workload.
Okay.
So it does offer the flexibility that maybe other companies, wouldn't have allowed. Um, and remote work is obviously possible as well. And I think, yeah, like for me, the company itself has been brilliant.
Mhm.
They've, supported me through 2 pregnancies, and they've been
Mhm.
supportive, going back to work. So I love it there. Maybe in previous jobs, yeah, they wouldn't, that flexibility wouldn't have been there, but also it's kind of difficult to predict because back then there was no COVID. So like hadn't COVID
Yeah.
not happened, I'd be in the office 5 days a week. So um yeah, I think the sales role, it's a much more pressured environment, maybe
Mhm.
before that, what I was previously doing. So that has its added stress. And also like my husband does the exact same job. So
Okay.
he's also quite stressed, but we understand each other's work. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
understanding each other's
understand.
role can sometimes help.
Yeah, yeah. I think when you understand what the other person does and you understand the stresses, like you can kind of support one another through it. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's been definitely been helpful.
Do you find with that, mothering and careering, do you have any space in your week for you? Are you still able to carve that out? Or is that something that has been long forgotten?
I'll always try to carve out like an hour or at the weekend. Like I don't even do anything that interesting. I I probably just like go wander around Dundrum, and it's like I get a coffee and I'm not even shopping. Like I'm just walking
Mhm.
around with like nothing to think about for an hour. Look at
Mhm.
some nice things, and then I probably go to Tesco's and do the food shop. So like that is the hour that I get to get, to myself.
Mhm.
Look, I'm getting better. Like even carving out an hour this evening to do this was like, no, this is
Yeah.
happening. I'm putting this in
Yeah,
the
I really
diary.
appreciate it.
Be like a bit organized, but I think I'm probably just a kind of a, I wouldn't say a lazy person, but like I need those few hours in the evening every day to decompress. Like there's
Mhm.
people just like someone I work with every night of the week. They're out. They're like the gym, or they're going to a show, or they're like Nick. They don't have kids, but I'm like that. I couldn't do that. Like I need 2 hours to myself. Not to myself.
Yeah.
Like with just like chilling on the couch, just
Mhm.
like watching. something, having dinner, talking to one another. And if I don't have that in the evening, I feel like robbed. Like if someone makes me go and
Mhm.
do something like night in the middle of the week, I'm like, I'm
Messing with the
yeah,
schedule.
yeah, my, lack of schedule. Like I love having nothing to do. So
Yeah,
that's just what I prioritize. I
yeah,
need those few hours in the evening to switch off. And I'm probably quite introverted in that regard. I just
yeah,
like my own company. Yeah.
yeah. That's not a bad thing. It's nice to
Yeah.
enjoy your own company. Is there
Yeah.
anything from your pre-baby life that you miss or you would like to find a way to integrate into your life now if you had a magic wand and had time
Mm,
and endless energy?
yeah. I mean, I think I wish I had more time for, well, just get back to your kind of passion projects. I'd love to
Mhm,
maybe learn a new instrument, or I'd love to I actually would love to go back to college. Like maybe, these are like my future goals. But yeah, I
mhm,
think now I kind of look back on uni, and I'm kind of like, what, I didn't take that very seriously. And I'd love to kind of go back and to do it all again, take it seriously, apply myself maybe more. So, but now is not the time to
yeah,
do those things, Like I can do them in a few years when the kids are a bit
yeah,
more, say, independent and they start to have their own lives, then I
mhm,
can do that. Yeah, I think going back to college and educating myself a little bit more, that would be a goal. Maybe get back to playing piano.
mhm.
Um, it's just sitting in my living room and I don't play it. So those types of things. Because, as I mentioned, like I did my degree in music. So, like, that's
Mhm.
been
You're a
it.
very creative and musical person.
Yeah. And I'm not really doing the creative things anymore. Um, so yeah, that's always in the back of my mind to maybe spend a bit more time on those passion projects.
It'll come in due time. I think there's a time
Yeah.
and a place for all these things, and that's the juggling act of trying to fit in what is most valuable for where you are in your life.
Mm,
Because your life now is very different than before you had kids, and that's to be expected. Is there
yeah.
anything that you would do different or that you wish you would have known going into motherhood or in those early years that you think could have changed the experience, or are you happy with how things unfolded?
I think not necessarily about me, but like I wish I'd I wish I'd maybe understood what being a parent was like for my friends. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mhm.
my friends had babies before I did, like, a good
Okay.
few years before me. And maybe I didn't really check in on them as much, and I
Mhm.
didn't understand like how lonely sometimes it can be, or how challenging it can be, and tiring. And um yeah, I think if I could go back, I would. And I've even said this to friends of mine. If I could go back, I would maybe make more of an effort with them, because
Mhm.
I think I appreciate it then when I became a mom, just people checking in on me,
Yeah.
so that's a regret that I have, but it's not necessarily, about
Mhm.
me as a mom, more me as a friend to my
Yeah.
mom friends.
Yeah. It's hard to know unless you've lived it yourself. I think I can really connect with that as well.
Yeah.
Just almost more knowing what to say and how to support. It's hard if you haven't been there yourself.
When you kind of relate to their world, you can feel a bit disconnected from them. But I
Mhm.
think then now as a parent, now your friendships kind of come back together, I think,
Yeah.
later on, because you now understand each other's worlds a bit more.
Mhm. Is there any advice or I suppose a mantra that you live by that helps you get through the more difficult days of being a mum?
not necessarily a mantra. I don't know what like mantra is, but I think for me, and I kind of touched on it earlier, just like your health is your wealth. And I know that
Mhm.
health has kind of a bit on this,
Yeah.
but I think as long as everyone is, doing well, is healthy, and you've got, a roof over your head, and you've got a safe place for your family, um, and a job, and that
Mhm.
once you have those things, you're doing great, and not to put too much pressure on yourself to be hitting kind of key milestones during
Mhm.
this really early stage, when you've
Yeah.
got really young kids. Like, I'm okay with not going out all that much. I know that I'll get it back and in a few
Mhm.
years, and hopefully I'll have, plenty of time to go and do all of those things. But for now, my kind of purpose is just being at home and being a caregiver, and that's okay. Some people
Mhm.
maybe not feel the same, but as long as everyone's healthy and happy, um, that's fine. We're doing okay.
That's lovely. Yeah. A bit of compassion for yourself and enjoying the present moment. Is there anything else you'd
Yeah,
like to share?
no, I'm just like I'm in a particularly well, like a good mood today, but like I
That's
might feel
great.
very different when we get into tomorrow.
We can do a redo when you're not feeling so happy to but I think it's
Yeah,
all
I'm like
very
as they
valuable
come talk.
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I
Just
think so. Like, the pressures of like social media and looking at what everyone else is doing around you, like even when friends are out at like pumpkin patches and,
Mhm.
doing all these things every single weekend, like we can put so much pressure on us to do
Mhm.
the same. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Like the kids, they just want to be in a playground. Like
they do.
that's all they
Yeah.
care about. And having an ice cream. Like we just
Yep.
need to take the pressure off ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Come back to real life and take a step away from Pinterest and Instagram life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I think what you've shared is going to resonate with a lot of people, especially the health anxiety. I think that's something that we don't talk a lot about, and something that definitely creeps up when your role changes and you suddenly become responsible for someone. So thank you for that. And
Thank you so much.
until next time, I suppose. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please download, share, or write a comment. And you can also send us an email at info@thegetyourpinkbackproject.com. Until next time. The information shared on the Get Your Pink Back Project podcast is for educational and general informational purposes only. Although I am a medical doctor, I am not providing medical, psychological, or professional advice specific to you or any individual. This podcast does not establish a physician-patient relationship, and the content should not be used as a substitute for personalized medical care, mental health support, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your own physician, mental health professional, or qualified healthcare provider with any questions you have regarding your health or well-being. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with another woman who might need it. And if you feel called, leave a rating or review. It helps grow this community. Remember, you are not lost, you are becoming. I'll see you next time on the Get Your Pink Back Project podcast.